I have a 12-gallon tank that is consuming 2.5 DKH per day. Like literally 2.5 DKH in a 12-gallon tank. You understand how crazy the margin of error is for this tank? Let me show you. This is actually a Flowable 13.5. It's the Evo 13.5. It's 13.5 total gallons of water volume, but with rock and everything in it, it's about 12 gallons. So I call it a 12-gallon tank. This is what it looks like. Very, very, very simple, but at the same time, efficient. So let me first show you guys the livestock so that you guys can have an idea of what it is that I'm doing and the results that I'm getting. Now, keep in mind, it's the middle of the day, super bright in here. So the colors aren't as popping as like late evening because there's a lot of like room light. You guys can see in my house, there is windows everywhere and it's very lit up in here. But anyway, so on this side, and keep in mind, this is a peninsula style. We have a rose bubble tip anemone, it's just a basic one. It's doing really, really well. I used that little cradle thing right here just so that it wouldn't fly away and get sucked into this power head. I feed it a little bit of cooked shrimp, like little slivers of cooked shrimp once a week. Oh, hey, look, there's a cat that lives under the tank, by the way. This is my 12-year-old cat that was born in my old house in 2014. Anyway, there is a toadstool leather. I believe this one's called the Weeping Willow Toadstool leather. There's a little piece of mushroom there that looks in really bad shape, but actually I'm not too worried about it. I think it's going to recover eventually. This is just a plate coral here, a favia, another yuma mushroom. This mushroom's actually doing extremely well. And I found a good spot for it to just kind of kick it here in the corner where there's like very minimal flow and just the perfect amount of par. There's a couple torches. This is just a basic highlighter torch along with a New York Knicks, a Bauer Banky. This one's from Poto, from Pieces of the Ocean. There is a very ugly piece of Worldwide Corals Space Monkey, I believe it is. Some kind of favia or something. It was really, really nice, but I recently moved the tank and it got stung by the torch. And this is what it looks like now. These guys here are Gonioporas. This one on the right here, is a Victoria's Secret, Poto Victoria's Secret Goniopora. It's not doing so well because, again, it also got stung by the torches. This one's doing phenomenal. This is Evil Queen Goniopora, Poto Evil Queen Goniopora, Pieces of the Ocean piece. It's actually very expensive. Red Goniopora, the video doesn't do it justice. It like glistens, like the centers of the polyps glisten really, really bright in the blue lighting. This is a acan that's not doing so well. This one used to be Worldwide Corals Blueberry Fields, but it's gone now. I'll explain why in a second. This is it's really hard to see the actual colors on camera, but this is a tenuis. It's like a peach and blue tenuis, a green Millipora, and another just kind of basic green tenuis Acropora. Yeah, this guy, you cannot see it through the camera, but it looks like a peach. No, you can't really see it on camera. It looks like a peach passion or something like that. I forget the name. I have a pair of clowns, designer clowns. I have about 12 Astrea snails. I have before you guys crucify me, I am working on a bigger tank at the moment, but this is a 3.5-inch Naso tank, blonde Naso. It's doing really well in this tiny tank, but it's definitely going to get transferred out within the next month or two into a bigger tank that I'm working on currently. And yeah, that's basically it. There's nothing else in here. As you guys can see, I have little to no hair algae. I don't have any issues. There's no dinos. There's no, what's it called? I'm blanking here. That red stuff, cyanobacteria. There's really no pests. I haven't encountered any bubble algae. I haven't encountered any aptasias, any kind of flatworms. Everything's just like running super smoothly. Other than this guy over here that RTN'd overnight, this acropora back here, which I'm going to explain in a sec how that happened. But yeah, this is it. It's super efficient. It doesn't give me any problems. Everything is super stable. And the reason why I think this tank is stable is because I actually started the tank with live rock from a friend's sump. So this rock here that you see here, it's actually two pieces of rock. There's a tunnel, and this is one rock. This is another rock. These guys were sitting for a few months in one of my buddy's sump, and he gave them to me so I can start the tank. And I started the tank, and at first it sucked because this tank took almost 3 months to fully cycle. It was bad. It was it was like a 40-day ammonia spike, followed by like a almost 60-day nitrite. Nitrite would just not go below 0.5 no matter what I did. So it took like 3 months to cycle, but once it was cycled, I'm not having any issues. There's no dinos, I did have cyano for a bit, but I mean, that's so easy to take care of. Just a little bit of ChemiClean or whatever it's called, a little bottle that kills it. I put like a scoop of that in here, and it was gone within like 4 days. Never came back. All it did was spike my nutrients a bit. And then after that, we had some green hair algae that took over the tank. So I added the snails in the tank, and that cleared out the tank in like 3 days. It was like basically completely algae free, and it's just been rocking super solid ever since. Yeah, other than the SPS that died, like everything else has been good. Now, why did the SPS die? I did have a couple other pieces of SPS, and they just would STN after about a week of being in the tank. So I discovered that my pH was too low. I was using an API kit to read my pH, and API is really hard to read because there's like just increments, and the colors suck. Like you have to like manually do it with your own eyes, and your eyes can deceive you. So I was thinking I was at 7.8, but I think I was probably like 7.6. So that's why the acropora, they're very sensitive to pH. They don't like being under 7.8. They have tons of issues if you keep them under 7.8. And at night, if you're running 7.8 daytime, at night you're probably like 7.6. So the API was probably very misleading. I thought I was at 7.8. So I ended up getting a CO2 scrubber and a skimmer because I wasn't running a skimmer before. Jesus, I gotta clean that. But after adding the CO2 scrubber and the protein skimmer, everything just looked so much better. I went and picked up a Hana checker, the white one, the pH one. It was reading at 7.8, 7.9 after the CO2 scrubber. So I was thinking like, wow, this didn't do anything, but everything in the tank looks so much better. So I realized, you know what, I think the API, I was misreading it, and I was probably below 7.8. And adding the CO2 scrubber actually bumped up my pH to about 7.9 or 8. But that was still a little too low because I didn't want it dropping at night. So then I went and added kalkwasser. I added kalkwasser dosing. I was dosing sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda from BRS. Great product, but it doesn't raise your pH, and I needed more pH, so I went and started dosing kalkwasser on a doser. This is just a Kamoer. And as soon as I did that, I was starting to get I was starting to get 8 to 8.2, which is perfect. Like, I don't want to go any higher than that. The moment that I started dosing kalkwasser, I noticed consumption just started freaking dropping like crazy, and it started consuming about 2.4, 2.5 DKH per day, and also a ton of calcium and magnesium and trace elements. Basically, consumption just shot up overnight, and I accredit that to high pH. So from now on, I will always focus on pH over every other parameter in the tank. It'll be first pH. pH needs to be stable around 8, 8.2. Then alkalinity needs to be stable around 7.3 to 8.3. And then everything else after that doesn't matter, because I notice with pH, everything just becomes much, much tolerant to all the other parameters. Anyway, so what am I doing with this tank? I actually have an extremely, really simple method that I'm developing. This is my style. This is the Acropora Junkie style. And all it is obviously do not use dry rock to start a tank. Just stay away from it. If you have to use dry rock, use 50% dry, 50% seeded live rock from a reefer local to you or somebody that you trust. That is the most important thing to starting a tank. Yes, you might get hitchhikers. Yes, some of those might be pests. You might have bristleworms, you might have asterina stars, you might have aptasias, you might even catch fucking Acropora eating flatworms. I know, why would you want that? It doesn't matter. You cannot start a tank on you don't want to trade no pests for tank stability, because when you start with sterile rock, you also don't have a bunch of the living organisms in the rock that help your tank to mature quickly. So doing a drag rock start, you're basically starting from scratch, and there's like very little ways for that rock to age, because all you're doing is putting little tiny frags in there eventually, and it's going to take forever to mature. So I would never trade no pests for a terrible start to a tank that'll take months or years to become viable. Like, I'd rather just get pests, deal with the pests, but have a thriving reef a lot faster. Just my 2 cents. Anyway, so it's a super simple tank. It stable salinity 1.026. That's the backbone. Temperature 78. And sometimes it goes, as you can see, 78.3. Doesn't go below 77. All it is one of these Inkbird controllers. It has a super cheap Aqueon like Petco heater, and the little sensor is down over there somewhere on the other chamber. That keeps my temperature rock solid. I have an ATO. This is a $40 ATO. It's just a basic little pump with a little sensor. You can see the little blue light in there. So you can see it from up here. That one right there. $40 off of Amazon. Works perfect. Has never let me down so far. That keeps the salinity and the temperature stable, which is like the backbone of everything, right? And then for calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium, all I'm doing is I have kalkwasser in the little cheap ice cap container. I'm using the Seachem kalkwasser because they sell it quickly on Amazon, but I might actually start switching it to the BRS. And even if it takes longer to get here, just buy it earlier, because you save like $10 for about 4 pounds of it. Kamoer dosing pump, it's dosing about 137 mLs a day. It does it in 24-hour increments, about 6 mils per hour, and it does not drip. It doses them per hour, so it doses like 5-6 mils at a time. Haven't had any issues. All it is just a basic line going up here, and it's like cable management crimp cap. It just drips into that return chamber of the all-in-one. There's a stock return pump from the Evo 13. Calcium and magnesium. I test for it weekly, and then all I do is calcium chloride and adjustment magnesium from BRS. When needed, I usually don't have to dose calcium because the kalkwasser provides calcium, but magnesium I do dose about 100 mLs per week using the general adjustment magnesium from BRS. What else is in here? There's a very basic Amazon UV sterilizer. This thing was like 20 bucks or 30 bucks, and I think it was like 35. I run it 24 hours a day, and it seems to help with water clarity and any pests, especially for the fish. There is no other filtration other than the protein skimmer here. This is just the PS2 flewable protein skimmer that is sold specifically, well, not specifically, but they advertise it as like fitting perfectly. And yes, I can confirm it fits perfectly. This is a PS2. There's a sponge filter there. There's no socks or filter floss or anything. I like to leave a little bit more particulates in the water. But there is a sponge that comes with the tank. I left it in there. I also put some bio balls in the bottom of there just to kind of help with biological filtration. So on the skimmer, I hooked up a custom couple lines, super simple. This is the Two Little Fishies CO2 scrubber. It's basically just a reactor that you would put in your sump, but it's repurposed to put soda lime inside of it, color changing soda lime off of Amazon. And this is scrubbing carbon dioxide from the air that me and my animals and my kids and my wife breathe. And so basically the way it works is this provides air and moisture, because I ran it from the skimmer cup, just a hose that's stuck in there with a little sticky thing on it. You can see it kind of like doesn't go that far down, just in case, because you don't want to suck that gunk inside of here. Anyway, air comes in through here, it's moisturized, goes in through this whole hose, goes in through there, goes to the bottom, gets sucked up by a tube inside of here, goes up this way, goes up that way. This hose leads to here, and this is just a regulator that allows air in to the skimmer pump, which is inside of here. You can't see it, but you can see the bubbles in there. And that is what provides CO2 filtered or more pure oxygen into the skimmer, which then circulates the water, pumps out the gunk, gives you a nice clean pH buffered water back into the aquarium, which then filters up this way. This is just a little piece of a, Rolofos. And that's basically it. There's a wave maker over here, Jabal. I don't remember the model number, but it was like 60 bucks on Amazon. I will say that these are meant to be like Nero knockoffs. Basically, I feel pretty crappy using it, but I mean, they work and they're a third of the price. So I'm going to keep using it until the wheels fall off. This guy here is obviously you guys probably already know this one, but it's a Aqua Illumination AI Prime HD 16, super basic, been around the block many times. I've had it in previous tanks. You can't go wrong with this little single puck. I'm getting about 350 par. I have it pretty low. It's about 6-7 inches from the water, and I'm getting about like 280 to 350 at the acros, and then it drops off to like 100 in the bottom. I'm running it really high. It's not max, but it's pretty high. And this thing's actually quite powerful. It has cooked some acros before when I had it running at 125%. So I had to turn it down. I think I'm only running at like 80, but like I said, I brought it down closer to the water surface, and that just bumped up the par. And then I used these little spacers that I got off of the TikTok shop, and some guy that like 3D prints them off of Shopify, and you basically just glue them, stick your coral in, and you don't have to glue your corals. You can move them around whenever you want. It's super convenient. Plus, it adds that little bit of space, So your coral sits up a little higher, gets a little bit more light, a little bit higher par. So I'm getting about like 300 to 350 right here, which is like perfect. And as you guys can see, there's plenty of flow. The polyps move. If I can get it to focus. Come on. This guy doesn't want to focus. There it is. You guys can see plenty of flow for Acropora. Random, not constant. There's a ton of calciferous growth all over the place. This thing's doing phenomenal. Oh, and for a stand, you guys are gonna laugh. This is probably the best part. This is the cat litter box that I repurposed. I repurposed it, yeah. Like, you guys wanna see? You guys already saw there was a cat in here, but like a cat can still go in there. Excuse the mess. It's the cats go in there and destroy it. But look, these are the little caps. Super cheap. I paid like 20 for a bunch of them. This is to scrape the glass. This is to wipe the glass. And then I just have little things in here like, you know, garlic, good old two little fishes, Corafix, the glue, cyanoacrylate. And also, I forgot to mention, I am using Reef moonshiners. So that is one of the more complicated, more expensive things that I do. Everything else is super basic. Like, look at this. Check this out. Freaking, I don't even know how much this was, but we were going to throw it in the trash. So, like what? Like a $40 garbage-bound freaking cat litter box, right? That my wife had since before we even met. Free. Like, this was free. I didn't pay a dime for it. You know, 5-gallon jug that I had laying around from previous tanks. I spent like 120 bucks here to dose. This thing was like 30 bucks, $30 for that. Like 250 for the light. I think the light and the tank itself. I paid 170 for the tank from Petco. So like skimmer was 40 bucks. Like, this is a super cheap build. Like, all in all, I probably got the whole setup for about $1,000. And then the corals were super inexpensive too, because I actually have a plug that gives them to me for pennies on the dollar. So, yeah, the ongoing costs, salt, very minimal, almost non-existent. Kalkwasser, soda lime, you know, calcium, magnesium, and then moonshiners. Let me actually show you guys. On this side of my house, I have a restroom. This is me, by the way. This is how I record. I have a DJI little thing here, connects. I have a whole fish closet in my home. It's kind of organized actually, but it looks messy, but it's organized. Up here, I put these shelves up. I have moonshiner stuff, you know, rubidium, manganese, all of that good stuff. I have some potassium. This is just Potassium P by Brightwell. Excuse me. This is how I check my, you know, monthly I send out an ICP, and then I dose whatever it tells me to of whatever elements are in here. Just try to be really careful with it. On this side we have my test kits. I don't use anything fancy. Saliferts for almost everything, including alkalinity, and a pH, which I'm actually going to switch to the Milwaukee pH Pro because I don't want to use liquid every time I test pH. I'd rather just stick a pin inside the water and it'll tell me, even if I have to calibrate it. I'm going to try it, see if I like it. But this one so far has been amazing. It's super accurate, super easy to do. It's literally just 10 mils of water, 5 drops of the solution, and it takes like 10 seconds. Yeah, that's it. Some salt, some RODI. I have my RODI unit down here. I had this laying around from previous tanks. I never got rid of it. And a lot of this stuff I already had. Like this tank was a freshwater tank that housed my daughter's 2 goldfishes. And they died, so it became a hospital tank. This is where I quarantined those 2 clowns that you guys saw. Super easy to do. You know, I'm sure this looks a lot like all of you guys' fish storage place, right? Everybody has all of this stuff, right? Some chemiclean, some kalkwasser, all that good stuff. Look, I got some magnesium. That's how I adjust my magnesium. I can get it to work. There we go. Just super basic. I got all the good stuff down here. You know, sodium bicarbonate, calcium chloride, soda ash. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna keep you guys posted. I'm gonna keep you guys posted in the future with this tank. I'm gonna be doing a lot of updates, and there's a lot of good stuff to come. So thanks for watching.